Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on YouTube, where Kahuna and I have got the TNT takes for you on The Challenge, episode 16. I'm your host, Chris, and Kahuna, this is officially the last podcast that we're going to be doing in 2024, at least for the two of us being on a podcast together, because I am about to jet off in a couple of days from today to go to South Africa for a well-deserved break. I did say last week, for those that were listening, that we will be doing a finale recap of the last couple of episodes together. If we do have a finale while I'm in South Africa, we'll do that when I come back. Or if for any reason they do end up, now that there's a location change, they try and reset the show, there's a couple of extra episodes, maybe there's a redemption house none of us knew about, in the episode, the season prolongs by another couple of episodes.
There won't be an episode next week, right?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Hey,
When's Christmas Day? Christmas Day is on the 25th.
Wednesday.
So yeah, so there shouldn't be an episode next week.
And then the next week is New Year's Eve or something like that, or New Year's Day or something. Are they going to play?
I don't know.
They might take a break with you, mate. I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule, but I can't imagine they play an episode on Christmas Day itself.
Yeah, and then I've got no idea, but the scheduling was done poorly for people who do want to go on a break and just have a break. There will be a 2-week break, according to YouTube.
We're covered, mate.
Mate, I should have said nothing. Everybody, all the live audience of the
takes no breaks.
Yeah. I should have said nothing. People would have thought that we just planned it that way, but no.
That though.
It's too late for that now. This is the problem with live podcasts. It's recorded for 2 weeks in a row that I said I'm taking a break no matter what. I don't care. I'll come back. I love the live audience. I love the Nullified Take fans, but I need a break. It's been a long year. But looking back at it, Kahuna, it's 2 years of us doing this together. I feel like, we started about 2 years together, you and I, on the challenge, right?
Yeah.
It's gone quick.
It's gone very quick. What a trip, mate. What a ride.
What a ride. Yeah. What a ride. And here's to two more years of us talking about the challenge. Hopefully the challenge doesn't go downhill season after season, so that it becomes a bit of a chore to talk about it. But I have had fun. And I think of all the seasons to talk about, season 40 has been the season to talk about with all of the heavy hitters that we've had. But this episode potentially hasn't been the episode of the season to talk about for me personally. I kind of felt a bit flat on this episode.
Flat in that I think it was fairly on rails. There wasn't a lot of drama. There wasn't a lot of variance. There's no room to move anymore. You can only pick 3 out of 4 people. One person's safe. Like, there's not a lot they can actually do. So the format that I think has made the season really great. I praise the format they've chosen this year. One of the things we love and loathe about the challenge is that they do vary it and change the format up so much that you can get diamonds, you can get rocks. This season has definitely been diamond, but I think one of the symptoms or the side effects that I'm happy to put up with is that at least in the last 2 episodes, when it's right up until the precipice, it does get a little bit predictable. But having said that, if it means that we get to have a final with Bananas, Jordan, Cara Maria Tori, or I don't know yet about Cara Maria Tori, etc. We still got another women's one potentially. But to have this many, like you said, heavy hitters still in the game, I praise the format for allowing them to work within that. And obviously there's a lot of the players as well, right? Like we've said how well Bananas is playing, how Tori's dominating, Jordan's playing a great under the radar game, all that sort of thing. They're definitely a part of it, but the format has allowed these good players to be good and not get dominated by one alliance, blah, blah, blah. So there's definitely some really good things to the format. That means I think this is one of the side effects, that it does get a little bit boring when you have 20 episodes.
It's not unique to this season, let's be fair.
No.
The normal main MTV challenge seasons do drag on towards the end of the season, where they've finally taken out all of the cannon fodder and they get towards the end, and then it kind of drags a little bit sometimes. I just think the show is kind of it's like a dying breed when it comes to churning out 20 episodes a season. Most shows these days don't hold people's attention for 20 episodes. Like you can only get 10 or 12.
They should be in Australia.
Yeah. In Australia, like that's probably why you don't mind it as much, because you're like so battle hardened by reality TV in Australia. I will never get used to the 24 episode format reality TV shows. I'm too used to 10 episodes, 12 episodes. Like that's kind of.
Mate,
I'm all about quality.
You're soft, Chris.
Yeah. I'm all about
racing.
I'm all about quality instead of quantity. No. The problem for me is I got better things to do with my time. I got honestly better things to do with my time.
We're a nation and a generation. I'm not sure if your recency in Australia has really painted. Do you know about Neighbours and Home and Away?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They were both in New Zealand as well.
And an entire nation raised on watching 5 nights a week that show was on. Like for 40 years. They just we just go back to it. Like you're traumatized by Survivor. As far as our weekly big shows go, like that's lightweight. Like MasterChef, The Block, The Block at one point, I think was doing 4 to 5 episodes a week, and some of them were an hour and a half or whatever. Like they got up to 50 episode counts and stuff like that. It's crazy.
I never want to change. I never want to get used to that. I have been enjoying the beautiful summer weather that we've got over in Melbourne right now. I'm spending a lot of time on the beach. I'm going for swims. I'm going for hikes. Like there's so much more to see outside of TV. So for me, if I'm going to watch episodes, it has to be quality. So when it drags out towards the end, I don't mind watching 50 episodes of riveting TV, but if it's starting to slow down, then I'm not all in. I'm not putting my rubber stamp of approval on that one. And for me, like I said, hey, I'm being very critical. There are some things we can talk about in this episode. Like for instance, we thought that there was no game left, but Jenny tried to squeeze some game in right at the death of this season, trying to put the squeeze on Derek to try and keep herself out of being a target this week. And I've just got to say, bravo, Jenny. Beautiful strategic work here at the end of the season. Hats off to her for trying, at least, Kahuna. Hats off.
You got to take your shot, but like Derek said, read the room. That was years ago in challenge time. You know what I mean? Shit moves quickly in the challenge world. She's like, hey, remember that thing I did? And they had the flashback where Theo walked in. What are you talking about? It's, Derek starts, what have you done for me lately? Dun, 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 dun. Recency bias is huge, and they're just not there recently. You can say you helped or whatever, but what have you done since then? There's been legitimately factions going against each other. That's a hard barrier to overcome because you did a favor 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think she was way too late to the game here. You can't fault her for trying, at least. I mean, if she didn't try and she just sat there and she was a wallflower, we would have criticized her for that as well. So well done for at least trying 100%. To cash in on the favor that you gave earlier in the season. But obviously with both Michelle and Cara Maria being such close allies of Derek this season, there was never going to be any world where he was going to backstab them this late in the game. I mean, you also have to understand Derek, the player, who does seem loyal to the soil when it comes to himself as a player. Let's see what other people are saying here. YouTube Big At says that they are doing it at the right time. This week will be the last female elimination, 2 weeks off, and finale and reunion after that. Bloody Money is back in the live. Welcome to the live, Bloody Money, saying, do you guys think the episode lost its drama and entertainment factor? I think it did for me, but it's just like we've been sort of going on about it here for the first 10 minutes, and I think Kahuna already summarized it really well, is that we're at the end of the season. We're running out of bodies. The table has been set. Allegiances have been sort of set in motion. And this is one thing, to be fair, I always criticize the Survivor, and I compare it to the challenge, and the challenge is normally better than Survivor in innovating. But Survivor, I think, is better at closing seasons out. Like the last 6 gets exciting in Survivor, and normally it's just one big episode to get through the last couple of votes. That helps. I know this season is different. I haven't been watching. I'm about 2 episodes behind on Survivor. I will catch up at some stage. I'll catch up at some stage, but at this stage, I haven't felt the urge to catch up on it as of yet. Bloody Money is saying, Chris and Kahuna, how in the hell is Jordan able to skate in this game? Why does everyone target Jordan and send him home? I think we spoke about this, Bloody Money, in depth in our previous episode, where we said that Jordan makes it look easy, and the challenge editors are not good at editing sometimes a really subtle social game. And I think that Jordan, you say skate, I say let's applaud the genius of Jordan for being able to keep himself out of an elimination. Let's applaud the fact that he has played a superior strategic game this season where he's made friends with the right people to keep him out of an elimination. Obviously, he's got the aura. Obviously, you don't want to throw him in too early. Obviously, he can come back and potentially do some damage to your game if you did take a shot at him. I mean, look at what happened to Michelle and Bananas for a while there. They were going back and forth like ping pong, throwing each other in and out of the arena. And Jordan has been able to keep sort of clear of all of that. And I think that having Bananas there as a shield has aided Jordan in this game. You know, Kahuna, if Bananas did go home earlier in the season, I think that Jordan would have automatically become the next target that people would have aimed for. But Bananas has lasted as long as he has. He's been a target that no one has sort of been able to get out of the game.
It's another point in his like resume, right? Like that. Like when we're talking about the likes of Jordan, how does he do that? He shouldn't be able to. Like, how the hell is Bananas? Like that's just part of what makes them the goats of the game. Like the fact that they're even still here and not target immediately, like, you know, like, well, not immediately, because as we said, strategically at the most earliest possible convenient time, then, you know, but it's because, yeah, the way they play the game socially, their reputation, their aura, as you said, whatever it is, like, mix it all up together and it becomes a very intimidating for one side, very something that you want to cozy up to as well, I would imagine. Like if I was in the game, guess who I want to be friends with in this game? Jordan. Like,
yeah,
you know, as far as having someone protect you who can win dailies and all that sort of thing, like I'd love to have Jordan on my side to help me. If you're on a team, whatever it is, like he's a dick, but he wins shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like you want him there. So he's got to carry a little bit of that.
Especially as a woman. Well. Especially as a female competitor where you may have to pair up with someone, Jordan would be a great partner to have at the end. He's someone that could win a lot, that could throw you in or keep you safe when he wins dailies and you're a target. Maybe he looks out for you. I mean, Rachel wanted to align with Jordan early in the season for a reason. YouTube Bearcat says if it was Jenny asking Josh, he would do it and then sink multiple people's game in the process. I think it's probably the only person who potentially would have done it.
I would do it.
Yeah. And then Brittany says, good morning. I like the episode because I cared about the outcome. I like both Corey and Derek. And we will talk about the Corey-Derek showdown. I do like them both as well. Derek has grown on me a lot this season. Corey, I felt sad for. I was slightly leaning towards wanting Corey to win this. Like I'm solid team Corny. I almost said Corny. Team Corey. I'm solid team Young Buck at the moment. I really just enjoy Corey as a competitor on the challenge. He's won me over so much over the last couple of seasons that I may be his number one fan now. The Nullified Take is a massive stan channel for Corey, but Derek as well. I mean,
I want to say about Corey though.
Yeah,
as much as I have come over as well, I'm a big Corey fan. My thing's still correct, right? He hasn't won.
Yeah, but your thing is incorrect. Like the reason you've always been incorrect is you've said statistically he's one of the worst challenges of all time.
No.
Definitely
like,
not.
Not the specific statistic is the number of seasons he's going to do.
Yeah.
Come back number of times, and he's going to approach. Leroy was 13, 14 seasons, no chip.
Yeah.
Like Corey's going to pass that.
Yeah. But you've got to change. You've got to change what you say with. You could say he's statistically.
I haven't said it for a long time now, Chris. But you bring it up.
Yeah. But the thing is that you specifically said that he was statistically the worst challenger. He's getting up there, which I don't think is accurate. I think that if you look at him, like to get into a final, to get second is not bad. It should be applauded. It is well done.
Yeah,
I should say statistically, he's probably the best to never win, right? Which is very different from being statistically the worst challenger.
5 finals from 10 seasons.
Yeah, it's bloody good.
Very good.
So
Corey
to me,
very,
it's a number of. It's a number. There's gonna come a time where Corey's gonna win one. I just feel it. I feel Corey's gonna win one, and it's coming. It's coming in the next 2 or 3 seasons. I'm calling it. You're hearing it here first, live audience. Corey is winning a challenge in the next 2 to 3 seasons, and we're gonna clip this and we'll play this again.
I'll give you a challenge. Kylan wins before Corey.
Do I go over or under on this one? You know what? I'll take you on that bet. I reckon Corey's going
to be doing this for the long term, at least, just to see.
We're going to see how it plays out. I'll take you on this one. I do think Kylan is a machine. He's not fully human, but I also think his lack of
as long as there's a final with no swimming.
Yes, I think Kylan and Corey swimming against each other in a final is what we need to see.
Corey winning, his chances of winning. When U2 Bearcat asked this, who's going to send Jordan home? I think every elimination that Corey won this season, he takes Jordan out in that.
Yeah, like it's possible.
You know what I mean? Like the tackling over the hay bale.
Yeah.
Like Jordan's quick, but Corey's just as quick and he'll manhandle him. The Derek one was the boxing glove thing he would. He'd maul him. I think in a wrestle like that. And the boxing one with Derek, I think he'd take Jordan in that too. Jordan wouldn't be a layover, but I'm just saying I think Corey has the opportunity to take Jordan out in the right challenge. Like obviously Corey's able to be taken out in the right challenge, right? We're seeing that. I don't think Jordan's unbeatable,
so
obviously.
Disappointing.
But anything where Corey can really get his hands on him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, listen, I am not going to be the person to doubt Jordan on this podcast. Like, I think Jordan is on his way to becoming the GOAT. If he wins this season, arguably he's on his way to becoming the best of all time. So I don't know how we can very confidently make that assessment. I mean, Jordan will take most people out in elimination, but Corey is great. I just think that everybody in the challenge world is sighing a big relief when they're hearing Jordan say that his dream is to be a race car driver, which means he's probably not coming back to play future seasons because, he might retire on a high the way things are going right now. He may retire on a high here this season. I want to read a couple more comments that has come in. Brittany saying, right, Jordan is not skating, he is winning dailies, or Tori is winning it. It's his best social political game. Totally agree. YouTube Get says, I don't think we will be seeing Jordan for a long time. His speech about searching all this time for his passion, and he found it. Racing was his retirement speech. I agree. I think Jordan wins this season, and he rides into the sunset as one of the best to ever do it. Like, his name will be mentioned with Bananas and CT for a long time. The only difference is that we're going to look at Jordan as the guy who retired on his high, while CT and Bananas will continue to play as they struggle more and more to win seasons in the future, and potentially they'll cash in that paycheck, right, for the long term. But Jordan will go away with an untarnished record. I feel like he's going to go out on a high where the other two will eventually be that player that just holds on to fame for a little bit too long, Kuna. I feel like, if I had to call it.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of them, we've wondered that about Darrell for a little while. Like CT, there's been times where we go, "Ooh, that's not CT." Yep. Bananas has broken that so many times. He's the LeBron James in year 22, still putting up amazing numbers.
Yeah.
He's not the best in the game anymore, but the fact that he's even doing that at this age, that's like Bananas thing. He's still amazing. His chances of beating Jordan at his peak were always
not
less.
Happening.
His chances of beating Jordan now as he ages and gets older, it's even less and less and less. So if it is a retirement, as much as Bananas would miss him, he'd probably be like, okay, I got a shot now.
Yeah, most people do not want Jordan to still be playing this game. Let's see what other people are saying here. YouTube Bearcat agrees with you. Kahuna says, yes, I agree. Carlin will win before Corey. YouTube Bearcat also says, I would have loved to see Jordan and Corey in the last elimination. In the last elimination, Jordan would have absolutely mopped the floor with him. Jordan will also have mopped the floor with Derek.
Yeah.
Brittany says, YouTube Bearcat, he went through his girlfriend's phone and was posting his messages, and then he was posting videos talking about hating and loving. Who are we talking about? It's something about CT. Yeah. I'm not going to get into the CD drama stuff that's happening. Let's stay clear of that. But what a showdown. We go into this daily, Kahuna, called Fire Plunge. Now, the one thing that stood out for me was, man, this production crew must have had a really good working team out there to go and collect the car every single time. I would have loved to have seen the equipment that they used. No, definitely not. Like, I'm being sarcastic.
They did 10 cars. Like, that's pretty impressive. Like,
they would have done 10 cars. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like, there's no way. Can you imagine them every single time going in there to go fetch the car? Like, how long they would have had to wait?
The freaking wires and everything.
Yeah,
because I was like, it's pretty impressive. They mimicked them as well, though. Like, they didn't have different colors and different flames. The same flame, the same green wheels. It made it look like the exact same car every time. It was pretty good.
It was well done. Yeah, and it was a fun. I thought it was a fun challenge. This is one of those challenges where I would love to be in it. It would feel like I'm in a James Bond movie or something, living out my childhood dreams, trying to figure out how to hotwire the car. And the pressure would be, no, I can't say this. Even though I'm South African, people would be like, this guy's from South Africa. He needs to know how to hotwire a car. So I'd feel the pressure of a whole nation to be out there trying to get it done, But yeah, like, listen, at the end of the day, what a challenge. It all came down to the swim. And as soon as we knew it was a swimming challenge, Wes isn't there to give Jordan a run for his money. There's no Emily Seaburn from the Challenge Australia to give him a challenge. So Jordan was always going to win this. And he looked pretty graceful doing it. But every time I now see someone swimming, I always think about Emily doing it in World Championship season and in Australia, and how it just looked like there was no movement. She's just gliding through the water.
That's world-class Olympic level athlete, like very different kind of, like how Cara Maria was saying how she's, an average Joe swinger amongst Michael Phelps's, whereas Emily Seaburn is literally a Michael Phelps, Michael Phelps, but like Olympic gold medal swimmer. It's a crazy comparison even.
Can we talk about Cara since you brought her up? You would have noticed on the podcast I've been talking about Cara a lot less than usual, and Cara is, like everybody know, my all-time favorite female challenger. But it's been a while now, Cara Maria, since you've been doing the challenge, and I just don't think it holds up anymore when you say I didn't grow up with a swimming pool and didn't have, like, if you can lift weights, if you can do all this other stuff.
She didn't grow up with one, but she's been pretty rich for a little while now. Like,
I still love you, Cara, but I'm just going to say that excuse does not hold up anymore. It does not hold up for me anymore.
Rachel did not like it.
Yeah. You should not be quitting. You should be.
I like Rachel's attitude. She's like, I don't get this at all. Like, what? She's joking out. Like, Rachel's just freaking all about it. She's like, this is Cara Maria. Like, what is this shit? Like, she just, it was so much disdain for her competitive or lack of competitive nature. And I found that really interesting.
Like
what is that? What are we seeing from Cara there?
I'm feeling very deflated. I'm getting quitter vibes from Cara Maria at the moment. I'm getting real quitter vibes from her. I don't like it. I don't like seeing, like, that my Superman is mortal. And it's not good to see, Kahuna. And I'm coming to realization that I'm going to call it. I think Cara Maria goes home in the next elimination. I just feel like this is not the Cara Maria that I know. It's not the one with the fighting spirit. And maybe I'm being harsh. Doing a swimming challenge isn't necessarily her strength, but it's also just the way that she needs Michelle to talk her up And we've been seeing it this whole season where it just feels like there's more than just the swimming. There's things going on outside of the swimming. Like I feel like she's lost her heart this season, and that she feels for some other reason inadequate against some of these competitors that she's going against right now, against Jenny and Rachel, who she's going to go up as targets against. Something feels off to me, Kahuna. You know, when a player just that their head's hanging when they're playing tennis, they're looking at the racket more than what they should, trying to blame the racket for the reason that they're not having a good spell. That's what I'm getting from Cara Maria right now, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't want to see this from Cara Maria. Make some sense of it for me, Kahuna.
Look, we forget that she was out of the game for 5 years. Was it 5 years? It's a long time, right?
I don't know if it's 5 years, maybe like 3.
Either way, it was a hiatus, right?
Yeah.
She came back for an all-star season, which is not the same level as even a normal season, especially, and then to have her first true season back be against what is admittedly the strongest lineup to ever play the game.
Yeah, but you're looking at the same season. You're looking at Rachel, who's had 15 years off or something, 20 years off from playing the game. She came back for the same season, and she's playing her second season as well, and she's dominating. She's just leaps and bounds ahead of Cara Maria right now. So I don't know if you can use that excuse.
Maybe it's because Cara Maria is not in the drama at the moment. She doesn't have her back against the wall. She's got some people that are backing her up. She's not.
Does she need Laurel in the game?
She's not dominating or anything. Like, she hasn't been in the dominant alliances, blah, blah, blah. But she certainly hasn't been targeted like crazy as in the earlier part of the season or her All-Stars experience. Maybe she's just a little too comfy and cushy. She likes having the sword at her neck kind of thing,
Let's see some comment here of what people are saying. It's maybe one of the reasons I feel low about this episode. It just doesn't sit right with me, to be honest with you. YouTube Cat said, shocked that Michelle did not win for the women. She swims so well. Michelle is a good swimmer, and I was shocked as well. But we're going to talk about Tori in a bit, because we got to continue to love Tori on this podcast. Tori is like the #1 female this season, without a doubt. Brittany is saying, the daily looked awesome to do. Disappointed in Cara, though. She's been doing this for too long to be a bad. This is what we're saying, Brittany. You're in our heads, and you're getting what we're talking about. King Cash is saying, yes, but the challenge has multiple seasons with All-Stars, so you might find some time. It's not like he was doing it every season anyway. So talking about Jordan maybe not retiring. Cara was acting like a baby this episode. She's an adult. She can afford to take some swimming lessons and some therapy sessions. I don't know why you needed to throw in therapy sessions there, YouTube Cat, but
the Michelle talk. The Michelle talk.
Yeah, Brittany is saying Rachel was so shady in this episode. She was even kind of bitter that Tori won. I like that the ladies are getting spicy. Yes, the ladies definitely are getting spicy at the moment. King Cash is saying all Tori has to do is not come in last, and I think she is in the final. I think she's in the final already, because, yeah, you're right. If she comes in last, she's in trouble. Yeah, so she's still Cara's not in the game at all. Papa and Penpin saying maybe she's still dealing with Laurel's comments towards her at that time. Maybe it shocked her to her core and it messed stuff up. We know that after the season, her and Paulie looked like they had a breakup for a bit as well. Like, some stuff was going on. That's all I'm saying. Like, probably stuff we don't even understand and know anything about. Kay is saying, I feel like her motivation was beating Laurel, and now that Laurel's gone, her head isn't in it. Yeah. And then Brittany's saying it as well. I hate to say it, but I think that once Laurel left, Cara lost her fire. It seems like she was more concerned with beating her than anything else. So maybe she needed that fire in the game. Maybe she needed, like previous seasons when she played with Paulie, both Tori and Jordan were her enemies, and now Tori's become her friend. She doesn't have that person that she's going up against. And talking about Tori, man, again, Kahuna, again, if she's just showing us, and I know that there are some people in the fandom right now, Kahuna, that are struggling. They are struggling to cope with Tori being so dominant this season. Like, there's a lot of people, like the bakery would not be happy about Tori doing so well, because they really do not like Tori. And I'm a casual fan, so I don't get all of that. I don't get into it that intensely. I'm sure if I looked at her socials and how she interacted and some of the things she does outside of the show, I'll probably feel the same way. But as a casual fan watching the show, enjoying the show, talking about what I see in front of me, I'm really liking Tori this season, Kahuna, and I know that'll piss a lot of people off. She is playing a dominant game, and she's kind of pulled it in, even like socially a lot. She's not overbearing this season to the cameras or anything like that. She's coming across as legitimately now something that I would say could be the face. She could be the face of the next era of the challenge. Maybe she has been the face for a while, but it's starting to feel a bit more organic at the moment with the way she's dominating this season against the likes of a Rachel and Jenny West and a Cara Maria.
Yeah, like arguably, again, the strongest lineup we've seen, and she's at the moment the cream of the crop. So when you have the strongest females ever put together and she's at the top of the pile, what does that tell you? Right? Like it's hard to argue with that at this point. And you may not like her personality wise. I guess that's whatever. But like you said, I feel like she has tamed that down. She's not involved in a lot of the same dramas and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I think her rivalry originally with Cara Maria was just more because she was associated with Jordan. And a lot of the times, much of it comes via relationships. Like her spat with Bananas this season was really because you're playing Devon's game. Like, you know, she was on Devon's side. Like, she hasn't really had any personal animosities. Oh, Amanda hates her. Amanda hates her hard. But you know, that doesn't really, you know, whatever. She can cope with that. But you know what I mean? Like, she seems to have at least smoothed over some of the edges that put people off a little bit. And we're seeing how she was able to get on every single season in existence, build a strong vacation alliance where, you know, the friendship is so strong. Like, there's obviously something about her that the fans weren't seeing, I think is now starting to come through.
Let's see what people are saying here. Can catch the Kara's laying low at this point, trying to sneak into the final. It'd be interesting. Like, listen, if Kara gets into a final, anything's possible. Let's not forget she's the last female. Oh, well, not the last one. The first female ever to win an individual, final. So still definitely possible. YouTube Bearcat saying it's not that Tori is doing well, but that for some reason I actually like her for the very first time. What happened? And this is what I think a lot of people are coping with. Like, I never really disliked her, but she did annoy me sometimes. Yeah, so she did annoy me sometimes, but yeah, this season I'm really standing her. I think she's doing a good job. King Cash is saying Tori is easier to watch without the Vacation Alliance. That's probably another reason as well, because the Vacation Alliance as a whole is not very likable. Also, probably because Tori normally just goes to the show to hook up. She hasn't hooked up with anyone this season. She's just been playing her. Brittany saying, I think Tori knew that people were doubting her, so she had to really prove herself this season. I always believe that Jordan pulls that competitor out of her as opposed to VA, who is entitled. Who's VA?
Vacation Alliance.
Vacation Alliance, right. King Cash says Casey and Josh left. That's what's happened. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. Totally makes sense now that I think about it. Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, the rest of the performers. Kylan didn't look good in the water, so maybe a chink in the armor there for him going into the final, especially if there's some swimming involved. Corey did work on his swimming. If that is the thing that's...
Yeah, that, but also, like, the fact that it just makes me laugh. I'm like, why did the stereotype have to be the one thing? Like, you know, right. It's like, oh, man. Like...
Yeah.
Of course it had to be that.
But he's not the only person. I guess Corey's struggling as well. But, you know, like, again, Kara struggled, right? I think that, funny enough, Tori had a really good confessional about swimming that I totally agree with when she said it. Swimming is a difficult skill to train, right? And not everybody's got 500 meters worth of lake that they can go and swim in consistently to get good at that skill set. It's much easier to get to a gym to lift weights. It's much easier to run, work on that level of fitness. But I feel like unless you make a concerted effort of actually going to a swimming pool to get swimming lessons and fork out some cash and some commitment to get to the pool to do it. It's just not as easy to get into it. And I think that's why some people are getting found out. I know for a fact, I'm looking at it. I'm a decent runner. I'm good with weights. Like I do the Spartan obstacle course races. I know I can smash it. But if you put me in 500 meters of lake to go swimming, I would have been looking bad as well. I don't train swimming like that, So I'm the first person to say,
man.
Yeah, like, I'm the first person to say I'm not shaming. I'm not shaming these people.
Look, yeah, I agree with you because swimming is very much like a privileged sport. Like most people that live in major cities around the world don't have the backyards we have in Australia where I don't have a pool. I wish I had a pool, but at least 3 or 4 neighbors in my, you look at a Google map of my neighborhood, there's pools. In Australia, it's different. We're very hot, but like if you're living in the middle of Melbourne CBD, if you're living in the middle of Sydney like CBD, those kids growing up, they're not swimming that often, unless they go to the beach or whatever. But I imagine it's even worse in America. Like the only people that can afford to get swimming lessons and pay for that and go consistently and all that, like it is like you said, you can't just run around the park and and get better at it, or run the road, run the street. Like swimming is a very specific skill that you have to also proactively want to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't just get good by accident by, going for a jog or walking more or whatever it is.
Totally agree. King Cash is asking, has Jordan ever done a cold final? I don't remember. I'm sure there's people. Yeah, I'm sure there's people that would.
Is this going to be a cold final?
It's sounding like, because they changed location, right? And they went to a different.
And he said it's going to be a lot less green. And I went cold, or it could be desert.
Desert. I thought desert immediately.
I thought
my mind went desert.
My first was cold, and then went, oh no, it's probably more desert. Desert's easier than like cheaper production wise, visually. Yeah. Like I'm assuming shooting in the cold locations is very difficult.
Yeah, be interesting. Brittany's saying Corey has really been working on his game. It's nice to see. He used to be a lot worse than that in the water. I agree. This is one of the reasons I like Corey, because no matter what you say about the guy, Corey is not. I appreciate growth. Even when they showed Cara Maria's story and her history of how she grew to the champion that she became, that was something that she had to work towards over many seasons. I enjoy seeing the process of someone improving themselves. And I've seen this with Corey. He's not the same silly guy he was when he was a young buck, when he came onto the show. He has put in effort. Like, he has tried. Like, it's ironic he ends up going in a puzzle in this episode, but he's actually been doing pretty well in the puzzles this whole season. It's just ultimately still the thing that, you can only improve that much, I guess, within an off season. And he doesn't get many off seasons because, Corey's going to be back out there for season 41, most likely. He gets the call every single season.
Doing Teen Mum in between and all that sort of thing. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cara lives in Florida now, so closer to the water, probably for her to go and swim. I still think I'm not shaming people for that. I'm telling you. Brittany's saying, do you both think that it's weird that the edit barely included Kylan? Other than this episode, he has been doing very well, but we barely saw him in the game. I don't read much into the challenge edits anymore, to be honest with you, Kahuna. Like, I mean, Bananas had no coverage for the first quarter of this season, and then suddenly they ramped up his editing when it made sense. And I could even say the same for Jordan. There's been times where Jordan's gone missing. There's been times Cara Maria's gone missing. There's been times Rachel has kind of been in the backdrop. Like, I feel like everybody this season has had their episodes where they just haven't featured. So I don't read too much into Kylan having one episode where he's not featured that much. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't read into that too much, especially at this point in the game. Like, if there's bigger stories to tell or whatever, especially with Derek and Corey as the two, like, why do you need to focus on Kylan at this point? What's he bringing to it? I will say though, like, when you're talking about editing, I just had a little bit of a thing to bring up. I don't know if I'm embarrassed that it took me 16 episodes to notice this, but I noticed very specifically today the edit felt different to me in some of the more dramatic moments.
Oh, really?
Like when Derek was having his thing, there was a thing with like Tori, and it looked really like cinematic, like a lot closer ups. It wasn't like oh, you can tell the producer, like there's a guy in the corner with his camera, like it feels like documentary. It felt like cinematic. It felt like it was like different angles, very soft lighting, and I was like, what is going on? Like, did I miss that the entire season, or is this a new thing that they've only done in episode 16? Like, did you notice that at all?
Yeah, kind of a little bit. I think that they're experimenting with things. I think they're trying different things.
It looks really beautiful, actually.
Yeah, but this is what we like about the challenge. This is what we like
I
about
thought
them.
it was a little bit jarring going from that to then a confessional, which was the same normal, generic confessional we've had all season, but it came from very stylistic, very cinematic shots, and like I was impressed. I don't know if anyone saw that or if I was maybe a little bit overly medicated when I was watching it or something, but I noticed it anyway. Like I was like, wow, that looks really nice shot, like well composed, from a technical point of view.
Kay here saying Corey worked on everything but strategy this season. I think that's one thing Corey will always struggle with. I don't know if he can ever improve on his strategy, but if you're Corey and you win 8 out of 10 eliminations, you probably can get away with it to a certain degree. I do want to talk about this because this is why I love live audiences, Kahuna, because the live audiences sometimes bring out some of the best questions. It's not even us, the podcasters, that bring out these questions. But King Cash is asking, does Derek winning this season do anything to grow the show? It seems like he would be the worst winner option. And I think it's based on the people that are left right now. And obviously, we haven't spoken about Derek's emotional journey and how he got here. Let's talk about that separately. And let's not take that into account. Just based on Derek coming into this season, not a very well-known challenger, not someone that you looked at and said, first name for his era to go down on the dotted line. Like he probably got the call because there's some people from that time that are not allowed to come back and play the show or potentially didn't want to come back and play the show. What does it do for the challenge if someone like Derek wins this season, Kahuna?
I never thought about that, King Cash, mainly because I think I haven't actually entertained the prospect that Derek might actually win. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even think he was going to win this elimination. I'm like, he's going against Corey. Corey's a monster. Like, I was like, this is not like it didn't even enter my head. I was so shocked when Corey lost. Like, I'm like, surely, like, what is happening here? But Derek in a final could be very dangerous as far as his skill set goes, when his size and all that is not going to be an issue. He's endurance, he's running, it's puzzles. Derek could be good. Is it good for the challenge? No. You're right. It would be the absolute worst possible winner for multiple of reasons. First of all, he's the least draw, the least popular. There's so much to the narrative of cementing Bananas as the GOAT. He gets 8. Like making Jordan, like you said, maybe his sunset walkaway with the winning 40 would be phenomenal. Even someone like Kylan, who could be the face, the next, generation. They clearly see a lot in him. Derek has been off the show for a long time, came from All Stars, and then to win this, the only real silver lining you could spin positively is that what an underdog story. Like for him to beat Bananas, for him to beat Jordan, that is phenomenal. But what it then also does, the side effect of that is it goes, what does that do to Jordan? And like, you've got these GOATs that everyone knows are the GOATs, and then this guy hasn't played for 10 years, comes from an all-star season and then takes them out. Are they really that good? Like or
were they just lucky that production just helped them another season? It's like all those questions come back, which people have kind of not asked that much this season. But for me, I think that I'm not opposed to a Derek win. I really like Derek. I like that Derek is like, he's the Benjamin Button of the challenge. He's getting younger the older he gets, and he's doing better now than what he ever did when he was younger. The only thing that I would say is that I don't want him to win this season. I don't think this is the season for Derek to win. Like, I want to see Derek go to a final now, since he's earned his place. He's taken out an absolute beast in Corey, so no one can say that he didn't earn his position in the final. But I would rather see him come back next season, 41 or 42, and win a season, and maybe get a couple of seasons now on the main show, because I think he's proven that he can hang with the kids, the new kids of the new eras. And he deserves his return ticket out there. I think we should see more of Derek in the future. I'm putting my approval on that one. I just don't know if this is the season. Season 40 is a watershed season. It's a massive occasion. I don't know if Derek is the guy I want to see win this season. That's kind of where I'll leave it. But let's talk a little bit about the story. We knew about his sister. We knew about what happened based on All Stars. He spoke about it during one of the All Star seasons, I believe, that he was in as well. The one that I think he went home really early, the first All Star season he came back. What an emotional story. And, my heart goes out to him to have to compete. Can't even imagine where your head must be at when you've got those emotions, knowing that it's the same day as I believe it was his sister's birthday. What an emotional time for him to be able to pull that off. And like he said, it's always your friends that, not to get too deep on the show, but it's always the friends you don't expect, or the people you don't expect that goes through difficult times. So make sure to always reach out to people out there, even if they look like they're happy, because you just never know what people are going through, So, but hats off to him. Like I said, it was bittersweet. I still wanted Corey to win. I've been invested in Corey's story, but I also am happy for Derek that he was able to pull that off for his sister.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the fact that against all the odds, like to draw Corey, and he called home and said, like, I'm going against like a monster. Like he saw the writing, he knew, and the challenge gods, as far as luck goes, probably got one of the best possible ones he could have had when you're going against Corey. Again, anything where Corey gets his hands on him, it's over. Like, it's not even close. So for Derek to get that doesn't automatically put him in the winning spot, but he dug deep, man. Like he pulled strategy with the endurance. He didn't really flag. He wasn't like so far behind. He was keeping up with Corey, but also doing it way smarter, to the point where it turned out to be a pretty strong win, actually.
Brittany says, I think Derek winning legitimizes bringing back all the challenges from the past. It's kind of like what Janae did for All Stars. I don't think Derek doing well on his own, for me, legitimized bringing back a lot of all the challenges, because Era 1 has been decimated. Rachel and Derek is the only two that have kind of, and Derek's not even from Era 1. I do think it's a case-by-case scenario. I don't mind sprinkling in the odd older challenger here and there, but I don't think they're going to see success in general if they're going to go up against a lot of new kids, especially because this season, this format, Kahuna, kind of helped some of the old, like it's a format where it's like we're literally putting you in 4 different eras. So you've got a shot. Imagine coming back in a season where it's only era 4 and you're one of 5 with, so many, you're going to get decimated. You're not going to stand a chance.
That's my thing. Like, even someone like Derek, like if he gets back onto the main cast, he can compete. Yes, he's physically there. Yes, he's very good at the game. But if you drop him into a season by himself without any connections, without alliances, and he's going up against the Vacation Alliance with X amount of Europeans and whatever mix person, like some Dancing with the Stars. Yeah, like whatever. Hopefully, like, it's season 41. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
without the connections, then it's a different game as well. Like, we're talking about a season where he had connections, he had people, he had insulation, he had protection, he was able to get there. And I think that goes for anyone of the older people, that you drop them into a season where they have nothing and no one. They're basically like Gabbo. Like, they're these European guys where we talk about, it's not just because it's a language barrier, it's because it's a connection barrier. There's no year-round talks, there's no vacations, but not even vacations. There's no showing up to Challenge Manias and reunions and social media events and whatever. There's just no networking there. And then you drop them in and they're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I agree. YouTube Bearcat says, I really want Derek and Kylan and Michelle to win just to get some fresh faces in as champions. I think Kahuna's higher on the Kylan win than myself, because it kind of is like the baton that's being handed over to the new era, and then he goes forward as the all-conquering champion. Michelle probably could be in that same vein, but I don't see Michelle in any world winning this. I think it's too soon for Kylan to win it as well.
Yeah,
I just really think
I like
that
how they were playing with him about that too.
You've got to.
It's super scary, man.
Right now, you've got to put your money on Jordan and Tori. You have to. They've just been dominating the season, both of them. So it's going to have to be an upset for someone else to take them out at this stage, in my opinion. So. King Cash is saying nobody respects Emmanuel's win either. The vampire or Dracula. Kay saying maybe it will incentivize casting to bring back all the players. Let's see what they do. I don't know how that's going to work. I think all the players will be, but then again, they've changed to all stars now as well, not to have as many old players. So who knows what production's doing? Like, I'm not going to profess to understand it, but I think they're trying to have the cake and eat it too by having 2 challenge seasons on 2 different networks, trying to like hedge their bets in case MTV does collapse. They've got another place to go, and they're bringing some of their new school people into the All-Star seasons now as well, Kahuna, which means there's even less place or spots for all challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, time is also going to be a thing, right? Like the whole thing with All-Stars was to get the old people back in, but we're talking about 3 years ago now, and the old people don't stop getting older. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even at 45 to 48 to 49, if they keep it going for the next couple of seasons, like when they were like struggling to come back for season 1, they're like, oh, you know, I thought I'd come back. Haven't done this in a while. Like another 4 years on top, like it starts, they're going to age out. Like that's the whole thing. And All-Stars was supposed to be that, I guess. But even that, like it's still a physical competition. They're going to age out at some point as well. You know, like you need to be able to regenerate.
And you've got new people who are aging in now. So you've got Bananas aging in, you've got CT aging in. So there's other people that can start taking those spots that are also now getting to that age where they're going to struggle with the main show. So I'm not totally against it. Brittany says that she still wants Jordan to win a big banner season like this to legitimize themselves. King Cash is saying Derek beating all-time GOATs would be an epic moment. I just don't want to see it. Totally agree. Also says Jenny also would be the worst winner in my opinion. I can see it, but at least with Jenny, she's already a champion. So I would say I'd
like to see her win over Michelle.
Yeah, same for this season. And I think Michelle is a better overall casting choice. Even though it would feel better for Jenny to come back after having been given the cold shoulder for a bunch of seasons after she won the show to come back and just win it. But I don't see it.
Do you think she's fixed that this season with production?
No. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of Jenny love out there. For me personally, I'm just putting it out there for myself. She's a lovely person. She's a lovely, lovely person. The problem is, I don't think she's a compelling TV character. Yeah. And I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but I feel like she kind of proved to me why she hasn't been called back a lot up until this point. She just followed Bananas' coattails this season. I don't feel like she did much outside of that strategically or anything. But then again, like you said, sometimes you need those players. You don't need everybody to be strategic masterminds. But I just think if you compare Jenny and Michelle and you put them next to each other, you go Michelle every single time because she's going to be more compelling TV to watch.
I agree with that. I agree 100%.
I've come a long way on this podcast, Kuna. Like we talk about growth. In the beginning, it was all physical ability. You know, Chantel, if she heard me talk about this, she would be so proud because she was always like, you only care about the physical ability of these people. Now, for me, it's about TV characters. I want to be entertained when I'm watching the show.
I think the physical ability is the only reason why I even like Jenny.
Yeah.
Like,
she's a beast.
There are times where she walks into the room and I'm just like, oh shit, my like base animal instincts just kicked in for so like she looks phenomenal. Like whatever, like she's, and I'm like, that's why I like her, because I'm a freaking idiot man. Like it's not because she's a great TV character or anything. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But when I had that realization, but speaking of casting, let me propose this one to you.
Yes.
Kylan has shown, like we're asking, has Jenny done enough to get back onto the show? I think
Yeah.
Kylan, we've talked multiple times about he could be one of the next generation. They need to find new cast members and stuff, and he's proven himself to be a good TV
Yeah.
character, very strong in the
Absolutely.
show. Why is he literally the only person to make the crossover from USA? Like, once he sort of got the success that he had, did they not go, ooh, is that not a there's a
Do you,
mine there we could sort of, there's something there we could mine if he's like nothing.
I think as much as I love the Survivor players and some of the Big Brother players that they brought over to play on the Challenge USA, because it's from an era where I still enjoy both of those shows. There's a higher level of demand that comes with coming from the CBS side than what there is from the MTV. So I think that for a lack of a better term, I think a lot of them are divas, and a lot of them threw their toys out of the cot about the final in the first USA season. I think people like Chris Underwood said he wouldn't necessarily do another season. Desi wasn't interested in coming back. The only person I will make a case for that should have been considered for season 40 or at least battle for a new champion, and potentially 41 is Michaela. Like, I think Michaela would do it. If she got the call, Michaela would. Sorry?
What about Justine?
Yeah,
or Tyler?
I like Justine.
Tyler.
I like Justine a lot. I liked.
Well,
yeah,
Michaela made a normal season before she made the spin-off, right?
Yeah.
Michaela already made it into the main season. So I don't
Yes.
know why I think Michaela should definitely get
She probably just didn't make enough of an impact being on that one season to be on this season. But Michaela definitely should have been on the previous season, Battle for a New Champion. She should be on 41. Like, Michaela for me is like the slam dunk option to bring back into the main show. But it's a really good question. I think it's because there's a lot of high demand that comes with some of those players, and that's maybe why some of them haven't come. Not so much from the Love Island side, but more so from the Survivor Big Brother player side, potentially.
That makes sense.
Kay saying Derek is a likable person, though. I feel like he can make friends in any scenario. It is possible. And he's also now friends with Michelle. So that would help him in future seasons. Papa and Penpin says, looking forward to a Michelle first-time final run. Hope she doesn't go last to guarantee her a final. Yeah, it'd be good to get her in a final. I'm also hoping that she doesn't get scared by all of the trash talk that is happening right now with Kylan.
Michelle in the final. Michelle in the final means no Cara, Tori, Rachel, or Jenny. Oh, you'd be okay with Jenny, I guess.
Yeah, but Michelle's safe at the moment, right? This is the last women elimination, and then it is final. So I think she's making it. Yeah, unless she's last. Okay. She just doesn't need to get last in the next daily.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Let's see what King Cash. I love you, man. You're bringing in all the spicy comments here. Imagine Michelle getting a win before Nisa Nani. Oh my goodness, that would be hilarious. Michelle over Nani any day. Papa and Pimpin says. Kay says earlier Euros gave us so much entertainment. They have something to lose and aren't afraid of bad image like newer competitors. That's true. YouTube Gator saying Jenny is boring. And then Brittany says, I think you have a point, Chris, but Jenny is messy. So I think it's funny how oblivious she is when it comes to the political social game. It is true. I mean, it has its moments, at least, when it comes to that. It seems like a lot of people from the Challenge USA don't like the long filming schedule of the flagship. That makes sense because there's different timelines, right?
Long schedule. Like 3 months they're going or something.
Yeah. And then Michaela has a real life job versus being a reality TV personality. Another reason why she's probably not coming over.
Yeah.
But Kahuna, anything that you wanted to bring up? Anything else you wanted to say? I feel like we've gone through all of the main talking points for this episode. We did well.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm so much of this season has been high quality. Like, even I think a lull of an episode, like it felt a little bit on rails as far as drama goes. Still lots of positives in it, still so much to praise. And the fact that we're going into a final with this caliber of competitors left and not a lot of, or no layups really, like getting through, that is pretty phenomenal. I think I think we're heading for a good season. And then I started thinking today, what does that mean going forward? If Jordan does win and he walks away, if Bananas is getting old, do we have I don't know if we have the reserves at the moment. Like, one of the good things about Derek doing so well is that he does add another name that they can rely on and call back. but I feel like the really good players are getting fewer and further between, and the bench is getting short,
Yeah, totally agree. Can't wait to see how this season is going to end up. But yeah, that's it here for this week, I guess, off the coverage that we will be doing for the challenge. Everybody, I hope you have a phenomenal Christmas and a happy New Year's wherever you're going to go. We will be back in 2 weeks' time to talk about the next episode and then also the final of the challenge. So if we're not back in the next 2 weeks, it is because I'm on my way to South Africa to go visit some family. Kahuna is going to take a much deserved break as well. And when we come back, we will be crowning the next female and male champion for the challenge. So really excited to talk about that. But for everybody that jumped in on the live later on here, please consider subscribing to the channel if you like this content. We are going to be doing more content in the new year. There will be more challenge seasons that we will cover. Lots of other reality TV coming our way as well. If you love Survivor, make sure to check out Coach Drew and Jake's coverage of the finale here on the channel as well. They will be doing a panel this week. But for now, we say goodbye, happy holidays, and we'll catch you in the new year. Bye, everyone.